Listen, that's not close. Bring it in. You see this? I'm doing some distal strength. All right, distal means farther away from my midline. All right, so what I'm doing is but we're not gonna work the fingers. All right, but we're gonna work on, some of the more peripheral muscles of the body. All right, and so we'll start off with just a little warm up here. All right, so we're jogging here. All right, so hit this warm up, and then we're gonna hit basically 8 exercises, a minute each. We'll take a little rest break, and we're gonna run through that 3 times. All right, you need for this workout, you need a band, maybe a couple different bands to do like a bicep, tricep, those kind of things. We need a ball for one of the exercises. We need a step or something like that to be able to hang our heels off of for this one, and a wall to be able to lean against. All right, so we need those items for the workout. All right, so we're gonna be working on some of the muscles, some of the smaller muscle groups in the body. So we're gonna do, the shoulder side raise. We're gonna do a bicep curl. We're gonna do triceps, some shoulder circles. We got a hamstring curl. We got calf raises. We got darts, which is at the front of the shin. We'll be working there. Technically, usually that's using a device, but we're not using a device for that. And then we have a band wide walk, working the hips, the outside of the hips there. All right. All right. Go ahead and tap back, reach up. So we're tapping back, sinking in here. Stretch things out a little bit. Get yourself ready, for some exercise here. We're getting global warming up, even though we're working with smaller areas. All right. So, why do you care for this guy making a video? All right. So, I've been doing this training thing for a while, and this is something we're trying to do as a public service, basically. We don't need anything from this. We just want more people to be able to find really good quality exercise. All right, kick back, crisscross. And with that is, we want exercise where somebody's actually teaching you while you're doing it. Where a lot of these videos I see online, somebody's doing the exercise and they're a great sculpted body, but they're not teaching you anything, they're just doing it. All right, and so I want people to be able to learn about the movements while they're doing it. So it's like a personal training session that you can take on while I'm talking here. All right, go ahead and step to the side. All right, and so, did I have a picture for this one? No? I didn't do it, did I? All right, no fun picture of me and my family, all right? I forgot to do that. All right, but just know that I have a family and I'm a regular human, all right, doing regular human things sometimes. Because sometimes I watch videos and it's like it's not even a real person. It's like some weird robot, and that's annoying. All right, get that back nice and straight. All right, so we're kicking the leg up there, get the back of the hamstring warmed up a little bit. We got one more exercise in the warm up, and then we're gonna jump into it. So make sure if you're doing this workout, disclaimer here, like you're doing it at your own risk. All right, so you are in charge of yourself. Not all workouts are good for all people. If something hurts, maybe stop, and get some extra help. Talk to your doctor before you begin exercising. All these good things that are up on the disclaimer there, all right? A little squat hold. All right, so because I can't see you, I can't fix it if you're not doing it right. That's the only thing I really don't like about this medium. Other than that, trying to get as good a quality something to you as possible that hopefully allows you to improve not just what you're doing, but the quality of your movements while you're doing it. All right, so we'll stretch out a little bit here. All right, good. All right, so we're gonna get ready to go. We're gonna start off with a shoulder lateral raise. You're gonna want a pretty light band for this one. You're maybe transition to a heavier band for biceps, back to the light one, for triceps there. All right, so I'm gonna switch my timer around here. Give myself the right time. I'm ready, Bobby. All right, here we go. All right, so I got this. I'm gonna step in. I'm gonna raise up the sides. All right, so I got a minute. I'm working on this. Now, if this is too hard for you, you could take a slight lunge. And now, that does include the legs a little bit. It does take some pressure off the band. You can go as much as taking a knee on the ground to decrease this, all right? So we're going just a small move, but it's really burning the top of the shoulders here, all right? So right on the top, right in that cap of the shoulder there, all right? I'm gonna go up a little bit just because, why not? It's gonna be nice and hard to do. All right, if I want more challenge out of this, I don't go all the way down, and it's gonna burn a bit more. All right, squeezing up there. So working on that shoulder muscle, just the cap of the shoulder. Oh boy. Now a minute on some of these smaller muscles, we're probably gonna fail out on some of these, which means we don't need a whole minute. The muscles quit before the timer is done. All right, like that one's pretty toast. All right, so then we got biceps. I'm gonna switch to a heavier band for this one because it's a little bit stronger motion. All right, so I'm gonna step in here. I can do 1 foot in and get this bicep curl started. If this isn't tough enough, even if you don't have very many band options, I can step in with 2 feet and I make it a little tougher. All right, so I added the difficulty. I can step 2 feet wider, as long as I don't stretch the band between my feet to make it wider, but I actually step on a little bit more of the band to make it wider, it's gonna get tougher. Like that's real tough right there. So I can adjust my difficulty some on this as I'm doing it. Chest is out, squeezing those shoulder blades back, keep that head on straight, squeezing up, coming back down. Try not to pause too much at the bottom. That's too much of a rest break, you know? Get a good squeeze at the top. The top ends up being the hardest because you're stretching the band the most. That's the highest resistance level. I'm gonna go back to the easier band. I have 3 bands here, but I'm mostly gonna use the 2. All right, so I brought 3 just so you can see that you could have more than 2. All right, stepping in here. I'm gonna step in a little bit wider with a light band, so I still get some stretchiness to this band. Now push the chest out, stick the butt out, and squeeze back here. All right, now see, I noticed my head was dropped. Try to keep your head up a little bit while doing this. Pressing back here, chest is out, abs are in tight. Small movements, a small movement here. It's almost like if somebody took my deodorant and replaced it with super glue. My armpits are stuck to my side, and that part of the arm stays still. All right, I'm just working through the elbow here, extending and bending, working on this distal muscle. All right. A bit of the show muscle right here, yeah. It's good. Nice. All right, then we got shoulder circles. We're gonna ditch the band here, crank some tight shoulder circles here, all right? So small little circles. Now, if I wanna make these harder, one of the best ways to do it is actually push my chest out more. If I push my chest out more, my upper back flexes a little more while I'm doing it, and it's a lot more tiring. So if I just sit here and I'm just like lazy about it, it's different. All right, so if I really squeeze back and engage the upper back, I'm gonna burn a little bit more here, right? Working some of these deeper, smaller muscles is kind of what we're about today. So it's not the big muscle groups, some smaller muscles, some supplemental muscles, but boy, they do hold us together a bit too. So it's not a bad idea to work some of them. And so a lot of our videos work on the big muscle groups. And so this is a good one to kind of alternate with that maybe. Or at least once a week maybe, catch some of this kind of work here. Yeah, push that chest out, get it worse, make it worse. Make it worse. Nice. All right, then we got the stability ball hamstring curl here. All right, so I'm gonna hit the floor here. All right, hips are up. I'm gonna roll in and lift the hips higher. All right, so it's almost kind of thinking about lifting the hips first. So that way my knees, my hips and my shoulders are kind of in a straight line as I'm doing this. A lot of times what will happen is this, your hips will stay stuck down, but it's gonna get more calves than hamstring. If you can, try to push those heels down like you're trying to pop the ball. All right, this one is pretty gnarly on the hamstring. Doesn't take too long before you notice something's going on there. Push those heels down, lift the hips up. Dig it, squeeze it. So hips come up, and again, it's almost like the hips come up first, and that's what makes the ball roll. All right, that's gonna be a lot different feel in the hamstring there. If it starts rolling away from you, just walk it back in again, and then start again. Oh, I'm gonna feel this sucker tomorrow. All right, we got calf raises. All right, so this is where you need your little bench, your little step or something like that. Hang your heels off the bottom there and come up. This one's gonna hurt too. I'm gonna walk funny tomorrow on this one, but that may not sound appealing to you to walk funny tomorrow, but having more strength in our calves is really gonna help us out a lot. All right, a lot of times it's shocking as we age, how much calf strength we lose because we stop playing so much. Oh, you're gonna get a shot of him, Bobby? Oh, let's see. Hold on, I gotta pump him up more. All right, so you see I'm dropping the heels below and then getting as high as I can. Getting a little peak on that raise there. All right, oh, hitting that top pretty hard really gets that muscle feeling like it's cramping up. All right, you can see like the lines show up more when I hit the top there. All right, dropping in, getting a full range, big stretch. Whew, is a lot. All right, now I'm gonna lean back on the wall. The farther out my feet are, the harder this is to do. All right, and I'm gonna be pulling my toes up, leaving my knees straight, pulling my toes up. You can't hardly see this, but it's happening. It's really happening. All right, but it's hard for me to get my toes pulled up, and that's the shin muscle. All right, so if you ever get shin splints, you know, somebody goes out, you know, the season changes, it's a lot warmer, they go for a long, long walk, they're still having such a great time, and the next day, their shin hurts. They didn't break the bone or anything like that, but they overworked this muscle. They did a lot of heel striking, and that muscle wasn't ready for that many reps. You can get it ready by doing some of these, but oh boy, I'm worse at these than I am the calves. All right, 8 seconds, which does mean I probably should be doing this, which is good I'm doing it. Nasty. All right, so next one with the band again. Probably a light band. I'm gonna do the hard band just because I'm probably making a poor choice. All right, I'm gonna step in there, I'm gonna crisscross the handle here, and I'm gonna walk side to side, you know, just rocking here, trying to always have one foot off the ground. If I'm doing this thing, you know, it's not right. Like I need to always have basically one foot off the ground. All right, but I wanna alternate which one's getting more challenge. All right? And so you're working these little glute muscles up in the back here. All right, so these are the smaller muscle groups that are very valuable. You do use this muscle every time you walk. And the stronger you are this one, the more stable your walk is. All right, try to stay wide. Turn the toes in a little bit if you can, so to make sure your toes aren't turning out while doing this, because it won't get the back of the hip as much. All right. Oh, it's got to be soon. All right, good. Whew. So we got a minute rest. Oh, boy, just long enough to regret that you have to do that again. Now, one of the things that you'll notice with this, like I'm breathing a little bit, but I'm not breathing as hard as some other workouts. You know, you go, why is that? I was working these muscles really hard. These are a little bit smaller muscle groups, so they don't hit the metabolism factor at quite as much. You're like, well, why do you want to do it? Well, they do it for support of the body, all right? A well-rounded strength. It's helpful to hit some of those sometimes. I like hitting the main muscle groups most of the time. Like if you do a squat, you do a row, you do a push, heart rate comes up a lot more than when you're doing a smaller thing. Now these muscles got burned though. That was a burn that happened in these muscles. They will get stronger for it, and it will help the bigger muscle movements, you know, do better in the future. All right, so I'm gonna get my band ready because it's coming up soon here. All right, so lateral raise, round 2. All right, coming up in here. Try to make sure you stepped on the middle of the band, so you got about the same amount on both hands here. All right, so you wanna make sure that the tension's pretty good, you know, on this. All right. Got this good squeeze. Abs are in tight. You know, every exercise could be an ab exercise. Your posture, if I'm slouching over while doing this, it's not doing me the same benefit. All right, so I need to open up that chest and lift up here. Make sure the chin's not sticking out, because that's too much of the back of the neck working. So keep that chin tucked in a little, especially when you start getting really tired. Oh yeah, see, I burned out. Still got a couple seconds left. You keep going if you need to, all right? But really what we're looking for is that momentary muscle failure, that I can't do another rep again there. And so, or if I do the rep, it's gonna look bad. All right, so now I got biceps here. I'll step in 2, see if I can get a little heat in the arms there. My chest is out, abs are pulled in. Squeezing it in there. Looking straight ahead, shoulders down, Make sure the shoulders aren't popping up. Make sure the elbows don't go behind you as you're doing this. You know, so if we look at the side, kind of like the side angle here, if I'm dropping back in here, this is not what I want to get out of it. All right? So I'm keeping that moving in front of me. All right, moving in front of me. So not back here, but coming out in front as I'm doing this. Because the elbow is stuck to my side there too. Same idea, like the deodorant has been replaced with super glue, and my armpits are staying locked to my side while doing this. Oh. Oh. The cleaner the repetition, the harder the work is too. All right, so go back to lighter band, most likely for the tricep here. All right, maybe I'll face this way a little bit. All right, so right in here, kicking back. I'm gonna step on a little bit more of the band to make it a little bit harder to do. All right, so that's one way, again, I adjust the resistance levels. I just take a bigger stance there. Now I've got less band to work with, but I like using the littler band for this one because the tension stays closer to the same throughout that full range of motion. Whereas if I use a lot tighter band, it gets too tight at the top and I usually can't finish the range of motion. All right, so a little bit lighter band with a wider step in there is gonna get me a better full range of motion squeeze in the back of the arm. Now push that chest out, all right? When I do this one, I almost imagine like I'm like the figure on the front of a ship, all right? You know, it's never slouchy, all right? You gotta catch those waves. Hit those waves with the chest. Oof. Right in there, all right, shoulder circles, puff it out, all right? I like backward circles most, all right? You can do forward circles, all right? So maybe I'll do this round forward. I'll do 2 backwards, 1 forward, all right? But I like the backward particularly because it creates that up, back, and down that helps us really tuck our shoulder blades in better, all right? But there's a value in going this way too. You can play around with hand position. If I go flat, hand position, it's gonna work a slightly different part of the shoulder, pretty hard. If you need a little bit easier on the shoulder, sometimes palm up is gonna be a little bit easier on the shoulder. So I'll go palm down, all right? If you really turn a lot, it's pretty hard too. You go, oh, that's miserable. Big puffed out, squeezing back behind you. Oh, big burn there. All right, it's a small muscle group, but it's a big burn. All right, I really feel that. Hopefully you do too. Ooh. All right, hamstring curl. All right, laying down here, heels up on the ball. I try to get a little bit of my calves to touch, then I lift off here so that way when I roll in, I still got some ball to work with. All right, squeezing up here. Dig those heels down and press up. The more I focus, the more difficult they get, as with most exercises, all right? Especially when there's more on a focused muscle. All right, see, most of these movements are one joint muscles, all right? This is an exception here a little bit. Whew. All right. Oh, this is basically the bicep of the leg. Oof. There's even a muscle back there called a bicep. Most people don't know there's a bicep in their leg, right? But it's that same idea. It's a curl. It's a curl of the limb there. Dig the heels down, hips up. Drive those hips up. Get the butt working. All right, calves. All right, to your step. All right, dropping and raising there, all right? Dropping and raising. All right, dropping in, squeezing up. All right, I'm gonna try to pick up the tempo because that is gonna get it to burn more. All right, so a little bit quicker speed is gonna get a lot more burn. Now for me, I really wanna get these calves roasting pretty good. Helping out with the track team a little bit. I wanna make sure I can play around a little bit here too. All right, so I'm gonna be running around with them. I need to get these calves used to some of this bad burn. So I'm good with this. Dropping in, squeeze up high, squeeze up high. Try not to rock forward and back too much as you're doing it. Try to stay just up and down movement. All right. Oh, the high is getting more difficult to do. Oh, I will feel that because I don't do calf raises often enough, I think. You know, it's like I could really handle doing them more. I'm gonna walk those feet out a little bit and then pull it in. So tap the toes basically and pull back up. Now really you can see like I can't get a ton of flex back here. All right. Ideally I would be able to get a little more flex back, but you can see hopefully a little bit of change in that muscle as I'm coming up there. All right. The shadow increases a little bit. Oh boy. This is good. I don't think I'm gonna go for a run tomorrow. I need to wait a day. Oh, so you notice that my toes are getting harder to pick up off the ground, all right? Oh, people wonder why they get shin splints, but they wouldn't wonder that if they did like 2,000 bicep curls. They wouldn't wonder why their biceps hurt the next day. Oh, rest. Whew. All right, so we got the band wide walk. All right, I'll get that big band again. That was fun. Step in that band, crisscross the handles, and get it rocking there, right? So turn the toes in. You can do like some forward movements, backward movements. You know, as you're doing this, you could do some little bit of sideways movements. All right, those all do good. You could do a little bit of a stompy one. So you lift the knee up and bring it back down. Oh. This is a fun one. Trying to stay wide the whole time. Oh, I do like the stompy one. I don't like the stompy one, but I do like it. It's a benefit. There's a benefit. I can feel the benefit happening. Oh, how you doing? How's that feeling over there? Oh, good. All right, rest and one more round. All right, so little pause on this. Oh, good work there. All right, so you know, doing some extension work like that regularly is going to mean when your foot hits the ground, you're not going to feel nearly as fragile. All right, it's not going to feel like the ground is beating you up, you know, every time that you step. All right, you've got these extra muscles that are going to catch you instead of the joints taking all of that hit. So a lot of times these muscles get so weak that the joints end up doing most of the impact work. And so if we get them stronger, happier walking, happier jogging, happier running, all that stuff. All right. we got 15 seconds here or so. Whew. All right, so we're gonna do the lateral raise next. I'll just get ready. So I'm ready to rock. All right, get my handles set. All right, I'm gonna step in one, right and up in there. All right. So it starts off, first couple reps aren't too bad. All right, feeling good and strong. If I don't go all the way down, I get a bigger challenge. And we do want to get some of these moments where you can't do any more, all right? Now that's possible to happen in around 30 to 40 seconds. So you may not need a whole minute. A minute isn't required as much as getting to that really difficult place. Some of the exercises you might be able to do the whole minute though, like calf raises, they just get miserable. All right, well, I did that one. Hopefully you're gonna be done soon too. All right, I'm gonna get myself geared up for biceps so that when it beeps, I can hit that one a little bit sooner. All right, you find me when you're ready. All right, here we go. Chest is out. That's good. Going nice and slow down is a big part of the exercise too. So make sure you don't just bounce it down. Resist it down. Chest is out. Try to keep the upper back working a little bit. So you squeeze those shoulder blades back. Squeezing the shoulder blades back but not letting your elbows back is pretty difficult. I'm gonna switch over, get a couple more, even though I'm burned out. I'm switch over to 1 foot in instead of 2 feet in. All right, that's done. All right, triceps. all right? I usually turn the handle a little bit when I do this one. So if you didn't notice that one while I was doing it, all right, stepping in here, so I can grab on the outside the handle and the strap and press it back here, all right? Pressing back, and I try to keep the wrist straight, so I'm kind of pushing into the thumb webbing at the finish here, almost like I'm getting a relay handoff, you know, back there, right? Turning that hand a little bit. Chest out, butt out. This one's a great one to work on your posture. And honestly, if you do a great job with posture, chest out, butt out, all that good stuff, I'm getting an ab workout. All right, so it does, working on some of these extremity muscles, if we do it with good posture, actually does get some of the deeper muscles in there. So this is a distal workout, being distal is at more distance from the midline, but I can still work on the proximal, which is closer proximity to their midline. The proximal muscles still are gonna do something while I'm doing this, all right? Shoulder circles. Whew. Get a good burn there. Again, I'm breathing, but because they're smaller muscles, it's not fully, you know, wiping me out. Doing all these things with this much burn on some of the larger muscle groups, you know, I might be about to pass out now. You know, but this I'm burning, but I can handle it, all right? And it's still good work. Still good work. My body is getting better and stronger there, all right? So kind of keep that behind you. Keep the arms fairly straight. Notice I'm starting to want to slouch. Get this squeeze going. Some of these deeper muscles in the shoulder. Really cranking well there. Hey. Oh, stability ball. All right, on the floor. All right, hamstring curl. All right, I'm gonna walk it in the right spot. Pump it up here. Squeeze the hips up. All right, like you're putting the spurs to the ball. All right, you're pushing those heels down into the ball to get that work there. Pushing down into the ball to get that work there. All right, big squeezing in there. This is lovely. Drive those hips up. Try to do the hips first and then pull in a little bit. Super hard to do it that way, but try. You don't get as strong when you do the easy thing. Gotta do the hard thing. All right, good. All right, we got calf raise to our step. Let's pump it. Now, if you're like beast on calves, you know, you could do one leg at a time. This is gonna be enough burn with both of them, so I don't need to worry about it. All right, drop in nice and low. Squeeze it nice and high. If you do low and high at a pretty quick tempo, oh, you really got a feeling. Oh, let me just get it. Just focus in, 20 seconds. Driving it up. Big tight squeeze. Oh, come on. Oh boy, you can feel like it just goes, ooh, like two little knots in there. All right, now that will make this one a little bit harder because my calf has to let up on a little bit of stretch in order to let me do this motion here. I call these darts, but technically darts are usually with a weight attached to them. All right, but it's got that same feel, all right? Whew. Pull that. You could do it with somebody resisting you too with their hands. That's fun also. Oh, come on. Oh. Yeah, it's good. Do whatever you can. Mine are getting pretty small, but I'm still gonna go. Oh. Whew. You will notice, you'll feel these muscles when you walk tomorrow, all right? So you wouldn't want to do this necessarily directly before like a huge epic hike. But to get yourself ready for a huge epic hike in the future, really good. Holding. Whew. Whew. All right, band walk. Finishing it off here. All right, love the butt work of the band walk, all right? You want a nice little cute little shape to the side of your butt? This is the one for it, all right? The butt's an important one. I'm gonna try if I can go a little bit tighter on the band that's between my feet. And that'll get a little bit harder. Oh, there you go. Whew. So a little less band between the feet that's stretched out big. It's gonna be pretty hard there, all right? Shoulders back, stomach's in. What? I'm gonna do the marchy one because honestly that one really kicks real nice. We're almost there. I'm going on a bear hunt. Gonna catch a big one. I'm not scared. It's a beautiful day. Ow. What's that? It's a band. Oh no, run away. Oh. There we go. Oh. Nice. All right. I'm gonna switch into just a little bit of stretch mode. We definitely want to catch a little bit of stretch after that. So I'm gonna switch my timer around. Gives about 30 seconds, per stretch here. All right? Just hitting the floor, pull that knee in, let's get some stretch. All right? Oh, so this one, I want to try to get a little bit of the glute stretch that I just flexed and burned that sucker up. So I'm gonna pull knee towards the opposite shoulder a little bit. And oh yeah, that's part of that poor little muscle. Get a nice stretch into it. Whew. Some of these muscles, being distal, they do get work as you're working the proximal muscles. So it goes which sides? So like if you were gonna push up, your triceps are gonna work. So working on some of these muscles will help some of those other movements. When I was doing a main pushing exercise, we'll get that. When doing a row, the biceps come in handy some. You don't wanna overuse them though, but the biceps will help some. All right, certainly the glutes, as we're doing lunges and squats, that little outer glute is really helpful for getting some stability into the exercise. All right, so some of these muscles really do help out in other things that we're doing too. All right, cross the ankle over the knee. Ooh, I just tapped my heel on the ground and I felt my shin muscle go, what? That was awesome. It really felt that. All right. So getting that lower leg condition for our walking, for our running, so we can get out there. So, it might be something like, before the good weather hits, you could do some of that kind of work. Our other side. And then you'd be ready to go for that bigger walk, and it wouldn't beat you up so bad. All right. Oh, pull the toes back towards the knee as you're doing this. It'll get you a better stretch in the hip there. How we doing? Good stretch there. All right, we'll come up for the hamstring stretch. All right, so kick that leg out, tipping over there. All right. So back is nice and straight here. Chest out, butt out. Don't skip on the stretches. I know sometimes this is like, well, this is like nothing. If you want to feel old, don't stretch. All right. So if your game's feeling old, yeah, just skip this. So you don't want to feel younger and better. All right. Other side. Well, other than that, sometimes you might be better off treating your whole workout as if it's just a chance to warm up for your stretch. All right. Because you don't stretch better than after a good workout. Tipping into it. Chest out, butt out, back nice and straight there. Pull the toes back towards you a little bit. Oh, add a little bit of calf stretch into that hamstring stretch there too. All right, that's good. We'll do a little hip stretch. So a lot of times I'll set the hip first, and then I'll press the heel back to get this hip flexor, this front of the hip stretching here. All right, getting that one working there. Hip position matters on that, so make sure you tip your hips up towards you a little bit. Tighten the butt cheek on this leg as you're pressing that heel back behind you there. So hips push forward, butt's tight, press the heel back, and that'll get you the best stretch in that front of the hip. All right, so You get that here, tip the hip, pressing into it. Whew. Nice. And the nice part about this is it does give you a chance to cool down just a little bit too. Catch your breath some. You know, let some of the sweat soak into your shirt. That's good. Wipe it. Yeah. It's nice. You don't want people not thinking you worked out. You know, you want to make sure they know it. All right. So let's get the tricep stretch here. Reach over, pat yourself on the back. Am I in the wrong order? I just skipped it when I first stood up. That's fine. All right, tricep stretch is on there. It's like the third exercise though. Far right. All right. So pressing it back there. As long as you get them all in, right? Abs pulled in a little bit. When you're doing this, there might be a tendency to arch back too much. Just be careful of that. Sometimes tightness in the shoulder like this can actually lead to back pain because as you're doing something overhead, because you don't have the range of motion in your shoulder, you end up bending your back too much, and that doesn't feel good. So your back hurts because your shoulder's tight. All right. So spending that time stretching can be very nice. Can be very nice. Again, feel younger. It's a good thing. All right. So the quad stretch. Take the wall here. Point that knee down. Push hips forward. That lovely little stretch in there. You know, for the longest time, I thought this was all about bringing my foot to my butt. All right. Now there is some of that. You can do some of that, but it's also about pointing the knee down and pushing the hips forward. Oh yes. That gets a whole nother level on the quad. So the whole front of the leg, this thigh right here. And if you're ever like, oh, my legs are too flabby, you know, get a quad stretch and then feel your leg. You're like, oh, hey, cool. Cool. It's not so flabby right now. All right. Point that knee down, abs in tight, push the hips forward. Which maybe brings up a good point. Sometimes we have extra skin on our body. Sometimes we have too much. Sometimes we have extra skin, but that's so we can actually stretch. All right, so I need to have a certain amount of skin to be able to reach overhead because even the skin in my stomach is gonna stretch as I reach overhead. If we had just tight skin everywhere, we'd rip it all the time. All right, so it's okay to have a little bit of skin in certain positions, all right, because you're not stretching it at that moment. All right, calf stretch. All right, press that heel back behind you, bend that front knee, sink into that stretch there. You know, also, a relaxed muscle wiggles a lot, all right? So, you know, like if you're under the arm muscle, some of the other muscle spots where you go, it's so wiggly. Well, if you're not flexing it, that's part of it too. Now, if you're flexing it, it's still wiggly, you go, all right, that's extra skin and some fat I need to lose. All right, but a lot of times people are demonstrating that and they're not flexing that muscle while they're doing it. All right, so you're like, well, some of that's muscle. Not all of that's flab. All right, press that heel down, bend this front knee, get a good stretch in that calf because boy, did we do some nice stuff in there. Oh, I got a good cramp on those suckers. Whew. All right, chest stretch. Hand up about head height, shoulder down, chest is out, and turn away from it. All right, nice stretch in there. Puff it out, stretching through there. You get into that midline of the chest. So the more the shoulder's down, the more the chest is out, the more it stretches across the chest. And you can actually feel, you go, oh, I feel those fibers running in that direction. All right, so if you ever see a picture of the anatomy on that, you can really feel it raking across here. Do you feel it? All right, reaching there, sinking down, chest is puffed out, open it up. I do. Bobby, don't laugh. It's true, it's true. All right, so there is our workout here, all right? So I like to try to leave us with a little thought here, you know, and so you know, this is from the Bible. You don't have to be a Christian to appreciate the Bible. It's 2,000 years of wisdom. You know, it's been true for quite a long time. There's some pretty awesome stuff in there. So here's a verse from Galatians 6:7. It's from Galatians, but don't be misled. You cannot mock the justice of God. you will always harvest what you plant. So like reap what you sow is the same kind of thing, right? You'll always harvest what you plant. So you can't plant corn and then try to pull up soybeans, all right? You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. And so this is like, certainly like, you can apply this in the Christian way, but I think, a lot of times the Bible speaks of like just overall truths that like are true in like all the things you do. You can't plant laziness and reap a huge harvest, all right? You've got to sow, you've got to do the work to get that. And so sometimes what you'll see though is sometimes you go like, wait, I don't think that's right. I saw somebody harvest where they didn't plant, all right? Well, you didn't see the final harvest, all right? A lot of times that stuff comes back around, all right? So if you don't get that sooner, you get it later and greater, all right? So let's say you commit some crimes, you don't get caught. You're not reaping what you sowed. You should be getting punished, but you're not. You're getting away with it. You're getting lots of stuff done. But typically you get more emboldened and you do worse and worse things. And now when you finally catches up with you, it's a bigger problem. All right, it becomes a much bigger thing. The best thing to happen to your kids when they first do something wrong is for them to get caught, and get in trouble right away. But if they get away with those things, all of a sudden, ooh, that's not good. It becomes a bigger problem. All right, and the same thing is true on the other side of things. As you do hard work on a positive thing, you work and you work and you work and you don't see the benefit coming. You don't see the benefit coming, and somebody else is not doing as much work and they got bigger benefit coming. Hang in there longer. If you do the work, you'll get it later and greater. All right, so if you don't see it coming sooner, it'll be later and greater that the benefit will be. All right, so hang in there as you are sowing and as you're waiting to harvest. All right, sometimes it can be a rough deal. It's hard. And at the very least, if you don't harvest in this lifetime as a Christian, I believe there is a huge blessing later on. All right, that we get to enjoy, and that's more than enough. All right, so let me say a quick prayer. God, thank you for our bodies. Thank you for our proximal muscles and our distal muscles, and everything in between. Help us to do the work for our bodies, but help us to do the work in our relationships, to do the work in our contributing to the world, our jobs. That we don't get paid unless we actually have added value. So help us remember that even if our job is hard and a little bit discouraging, that there's a value we're trying to add to this world. And so help us to keep keep sowing the seeds, and wait for that harvest, help us to enjoy the process some too, even when the harvest is much, much later than we wish. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen. All right. Have fun. Be safe. God bless. See you next week, maybe.